Hello everybody, this is going to be a completely different kind of video that I normally do. So without beating around the bush, this is also going to be mostly the hardest video I've ever done as well, as it's very personal experiences regarding an unfortunate death in the family, to say. So basically, my father died on the 17th of May this year. Only a few days before his birthday as well. So his birthday was the 21st of May. Yeah, so basically he was at home. He had heart failure and he had cancer as well. Wasn't very well at all. He was at home, like I said, and he wanted to stay at home and pass at home as well. So my poor mum was there trying to look after him and stuff like that. Got a little bit too much for her, so she asked me to, well, I offered actually to come and stay with her for what happens to be the last 2 weeks of my dad's life. So I initially went to visit him on the 30th of April. Stayed there for a few hours. He was there sitting in his hospital bed in the living room, because the way my mum's house is laid out, you got the living room, then you got the dining room, like behind each other sort of thing. So he was in the dining room on the hospital bed. They converted the dining room into like his bedroom basically. And he was talking fine, and he was absolutely fine then. Then I went home on the same day, so this is still the 30th of April. And then Freddie came and stayed with me for the night, and then I went back to work the next day. But then on the 2nd is when it all started going very pear-shaped. So he was on his hospital bed. There was no sides to the hospital bed, so it was quite easy if he wanted to, but he didn't have the strength to try and get out of bed. Mum woke up to a banging noise and didn't understand what was going on. I think she said it was about 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, 6 o'clock, something like that. And she finally decided to go and investigate what that banging noise was. So she went downstairs, and there was Dad. How would you describe it? His legs were over one side of the bed, and his head was over the other side, and he was like just balanced on the bed. And obviously he didn't have any strength, so he couldn't pull himself back onto the thing. And apparently he'd managed to find a water bottle, and that's what he was banging. And then he was trying to get Mum's attention, and finally she went down to find him prone on the thing. So she had to call the carers, because at the time he had carers coming to see him. At that time it was only 2 times a day, and then it went to 3 times a day nearer the end as well. So she called the night carers, and they came and repositioned him into the bed and stuff like that. They think he was trying to get out of bed, but we don't think that was what happened, because a lot further into time I'll explain what nearly happened to him again, because we think he was either falling out of bed or reaching for something, but not trying to get out of bed, because the position he was in was very strange. Anyway, this video is not actually about him dying. This video is about all the experiences that I was having from the moment that I visited up until the day that he passed. So, it all started on the 2nd of May. Mum messaged me saying that he was laughing away at something in the living room, and Mum Mum went over to him and said, "What are you laughing at?" And he said that there's a man in the living room that keeps peeping around the side, because there's like when you go into the room between the living room and the dining room, there's a like a slidey door entrance sort of thing, and they've always got it open, so it's never closed. So there's an overlap of wall on each side, and apparently there was his head peeping around, peering at him, and he was saying that this is a man with very tousled hair, was playing kind of like peekaboo at him, and he was finding it very funny. So obviously Mum looked over and she couldn't see anything, and it was like, what? I can't see anything. You're just going mad. So Mum just brushed it off. Then obviously, but before that, I went, like I said, I visited him on the 30th. When I walked into the room where he was, I literally walked, it felt like I just walked into a, what do you want to call it? A crowded room, basically. Physically, it was only me, my mum, my dad, and my sister was there. But when I walked in there, the room was full. It was like, I just walked into like a mass meeting sort of thing. And I was like, whoa, who are all these people? Because obviously spiritually, I was picking up. And it was like surrounded all around the edge of the room. There was all these spirits visiting. Some were looking down, some were just doing their own thing, sort of thing. And I'm like, wow, what's going on? Didn't say anything to Mum at the time because Mum, in a way, poo-poos the paranormal side of things, even though when I was younger, she was helping me promote it. So I don't know what happened there, but she, at the time, she was poo-pooing the So at the time, she was poo-pooing all the paranormal, so I wasn't telling her much of that. But like I said, I walked in, it was just like a crowded room, and I was like, whoa, okay, what's going on here? There was I wasn't really properly fully tuning in because I was paying attention to Dad, because obviously when I went there on the 30th, like I said, he was not perfectly fine, but he was okay. He was like talking to us and communicating. It was a bit hard to understand him because he was a bit weak and stuff like that, but he was talking to us. He could see us and acknowledging us and everything like that. But like I said, I was very aware that there was lots of people around and milling around, watching me, watching over Dad, stuff like that. And I was like, oh, okay, this is normal, maybe. I don't know, because this is the actual first death that I've attended as well. So I wasn't fully prepared to what was going on because I wasn't used to it, sort of thing. So all I can say is hats off to these nurses that go to visit homes and do their nursing at the care homes and stuff like that as well. Because the 2 weeks that me and Mum endured was not the best 2 weeks of our lives at all. But anyway, on the 30th, I went home, and like I said, I had Freddie for a few days. Well, I had him for one day, and then I went to work. Then on the 2nd was the bed incident where he was like thinking, and then he was threatening Mum that he was going to get out of bed and go to the toilet, and it was like, no, because you got no energy, and he was just being very nasty to Mum. So I messaged work, said I'm not coming, well, phoned work and said I'm not coming in. My dad's not well at all, and they were aware of the situation anyway. So I got there. It was perfectly fine. He wasn't kicking off. But he was, in his own ways, very determined that he was going to get out of bed anyway. But going back to the experiences, so from the second onwards, because of the way he was kept threatening to get out of bed and stuff like that, me and Mum were doing kind of shift works that night. So she would go to bed from 8 p.m. until 3 a.m. I think it was. And then she would wake up and then come downstairs. Then I would go to bed, and then we'll go about our days when I woke up, sort of thing. And then we're looking after him, and then we're just doing that over and over. It was the night time that I was more aware of things happening, because obviously, it's a bit dark. It's quieter at night time because my mum lives on kind of a small main road. So it does get quite a few cars, and it's a flight path above, not far from my mum's house as well. So lots of planes going over as well. So that kind of drowns out any noises. But I was aware of people sitting around Dad all the time. Turned out one of them was his mum. She kept milling around, mainly at the dining room door looking in and stuff like that. And it was like she was waiting patiently, I think, for him to go to help him go to the light or whatever she was doing. She wasn't really talking to me. She wouldn't really communicate to me. There was this nurse, we don't know where she came from. There was this nurse that appeared for a few days, and she was sitting there. And she was a very old style nurse as well. So, but I've taken photographs and videos and stuff like that. But because of my dad's death, I'm not going to share any of these with you guys, because that's for own personal use only. I'm not going to show any kind of picture evidence and stuff like that, because I don't think it's worth sharing for you guys. So I do apologize. I like to show evidence, but due to the nature of it, it's not ideal. Yeah, I would hear lots of movement around. So especially when Mum went to bed, obviously Dad would be moving around on his bed. And then once he settled down, but I would always feel something is behind me. Something. Sometimes I swear, I swore it was Dad getting out of bed and coming up behind me, because there was like something coming up, and I'm not always spinning around, and I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" And there's Dad just asleep on his bed, sort of thing, and I'm like, "What the hell's going on?" Because obviously the spirits were walking around. I think they were walking around the bed, and I was, because where I'm a sensitive medium, I can feel their energy, and as they were getting closer to me, I was obviously picking that up stronger. So I always felt like someone was bum rushing me, sort of thing. Sorry for the term, but that's what it's called. So I'd feel that most nights, but then obviously I would look around. Either the dining room door, which I would have pushed shut, would be open a little bit because his mum's standing at the door. And then occasionally there was like the dining room window. It's obviously got a curtain on there. I would pull the curtain shut, and then I would glance over a few hours later, and they would have been pulled open. Not just a little bit, but it was like sometimes it was open that wide, and it was like they never do that normally. So, because I asked Mum, do these curtains move like that on their own? And she's like, no. And I was like, oh, because they keep opening. So I started telling Mum about it, and she was like getting more and more into actually like understanding and listening to paranormal stuff that I could actually do. And because she never really listened before, and I was telling her. But as the time came on, I was just getting used to the constant noise behind me, especially when I was on my own when mum had gone to sleep and dad was moving around still in his bed. Obviously a bit later on, I think it was halfway through the first night, the first week, maybe going into the second week, I noticed, and I don't know why, but around about 1 o'clock, so mum was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning. 1 o'clock in the morning, I would start hearing movement, because the way now, obviously, normal English houses, I don't know what houses are like around the world, where we've got the living room, the main bedroom is above the living room. So my mum's bedroom was above the living room. So I'll be sat there watching TV or something, and then occasionally glancing over or talking to Dad if he was awake. But what am I saying he? But around about 1 o'clock in the morning, I would start hearing movement in the room above me. And then I'd hear walking going from the bedroom to the top of the stairs. Maybe sometimes I heard it going back again and then going back again, and I'm like, oh, mum's waking up early, sort of thing. So I'm sat there waiting for mum to appear, and then nothing, and I was like, So the first night or two, I was just like, oh, I'm just hearing things. But I think the second night actually happened, I crept upstairs to make sure that mum wasn't like sleepwalking or whatever. I don't know what she was doing. And no, she was still in bed asleep. And I'm like, okay. So someone's walking around upstairs now. So we don't know if it was Dad's mum, which would have been Granny Curry, who I never met because she passed away before I was even born. We don't know if it's her because she was standing at the dining room door. We don't know if she was going upstairs and then obviously keeping an eye on mum as well. But it's very strange how it seemed to be 1 a.m. every night. And this basically was happening every night from then on. I was hearing the footsteps above me, going from my mum's room to the top of the stairs. And then this was happening for like well over a week. So it was definitely into the second week that Dad was still with us. And I was telling Mum, and I was asking Mum, did you wake up and go to the toilet or something? And she's like, no. And I was like, because I told her every day at 1 a.m. I'm hearing these footsteps going from the thing. And she's like, no, not me. So I'm presuming it was Dad's mum keeping an eye on Mum, and then also as well as Dad. So we don't know. The last few days of Dad's days of him being alive, he was in a kind of induced coma because he was in so much pain and stuff like that. So they gave him a cocktail drugs to like take the pain away and stuff like that, and that allowed his body to just naturally go into a natural coma. And he was like that for the last 3 days of his life, I believe it was. Because I think it was the Wednesday, and then he died the Sunday. Well, very early Sunday morning. Then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, 4 days. But I noticed when he went into his kind of coma thing, it kind of died down a little bit. There was less people visiting spiritually. There was like only his mum. The nurse kind of disappeared. She didn't come back, so we don't quite understand where she came from. Because I was asking Mum, is there any nurses on Dad's side of the family? And she was saying no. And there wasn't really any nurses on mum's side either, our side, so we don't know where she came from. We don't know if she like hitched a ride with the carers and is like a spiritual nurse that goes around and visits people. We don't know. She wasn't really communicating with me. I was trying to communicate with her. Obviously I was taking pictures and videos of Dad because I was like trying to take pictures of the spirits and stuff like that. My good friend Steph, who you may have seen moderating my premieres on this channel and obviously my lives on my other main channel, she's a spiritual medium as well, so I was sending her stuff and she was like, she could see what I was taking the pictures of and stuff like that, and she was like, oh my god, there's so many people there and you can see the energy and stuff like that. And there was a recording that I did. I just randomly took a few audio clips sort of thing. I just put my phone behind my dad and just did some audio just to see if I can get into some EVPs and stuff like that. And one of them, there was this dog barking, and I was like, and it was only me and my dad in the house at the time because my mum had gone for a walk to get out of the house and clear her head and stuff. My dad was asleep. There was no dogs. I didn't hear any dogs barking outside, and it was very clearly you could hear the dog barking in this audio clip. And I was like, what the hell? So I sent it to Steph and she listened to it. She goes, yep, that's a dog. I didn't say, can you hear a dog or anything like that? So I just sent it to her to see if she could think of, see if she could pick up anything. And she goes, I can hear a dog. And I was like, thanks. That's what I was actually waiting for you to confirm. My dad, when he was younger, he had a Alsatian. Didn't have her for that long. She unfortunately died. I can't remember how old Mum said she was, but she was quite a young dog when she died. She went around my dad because my dad used to be a truck driver, and then she passed due to an accident that happened. And so I believe that was her. That was the dog coming to visit him. And that's what the barking was. That was picked up. But that was the only real noise that I picked up when I took these audio clips. There was no voices. It was just the dog barking. And then basically the night before my dad passed, so my mum went to sleep obviously between 8 and 3. So this was Saturday night going into Sunday morning, so going into the 17th when he actually passed. It was round about, it was a bit later this time. It wasn't the normal 1 o'clock, it was more of 2 o'clock. I heard the voices. I heard the footsteps above in my mum's room, and it was like, and I could hear it pacing around a little bit, and I was like, is this Mum really this time? I don't know. And then I heard the footsteps coming down the stairs, and then coming into the room, the dining room behind me. So I'm sat there watching, I can't remember what I was watching, a film or something. And I could physically hear someone walking behind me and coming up behind me. So I turned around, so obviously because I thought, oh, it's Mum. She's woken up early sort of thing. Turned around, no one there. And I was like, oh, that was a very strong presence then. So I looked around, obviously Dad's laid there in the bed, in this natural coma thing that he was in. And I was like, okay. But before this happened, just to explain something, so we were basically looking for the breathing changes when Dad was in this coma. He was doing like very, very deep but fast, like panting breathing sort of thing. Apparently it was normal, but they told us to look out for anything different. Around about the 2 o'clock mark, because I'm obviously we're listening out for some breathing every so often when we're taking our shifts. Up until 2 o'clock, it was his normal, kind of the normal breathing. But then after that, after who I believe was his mum coming up behind me, I think she was trying to tell me that his breathing had changed. Because from then on, from between 2 and 3, I noticed that his breathing was more laboured and sounded completely different to what it was. And I was like, oh, his breathing's gone very strange. Uh-oh. And I was like, shit, do I need to wake mum up or whatever? But no. 3 o'clock came, she came downstairs, and I was like telling her what happened, like, because I was saying that I thought physically she had come up behind me, like to say that she was awake now, sort of thing, and it wasn't her, and she was like, ooh, because it got to the point where when she was waking up, she was coming downstairs, and then she was like, any experiences to tell me about? And I was telling her, nope, just the normal walking above me and me thinking it was you waking up. But yeah, so I believe that was the time that happened. Then that was his mum coming downstairs, and straight up behind me. I think she was trying to like physically tell me that Dad's breathing was getting worse and he was gonna pass. So obviously me and my mum were watching my dad, and he was like the weirder breathing, and she just said, it's just go to bed, Anthony. It's if anything does happen, because we had the agreement, if anything happens whenever we're doing our shift, that we'll go and wake whoever was asleep up. Does that make sense? So obviously I went to bed at 3 o'clock, and then Mum came and woke me up. I believe it was 6:30, or was it 7 o'clock? I can't remember what time it was. Obviously I was half awake. Mum come wake up, and she was like, can you come and help me confirm that Dad's gone, because he was breathing, but now I can't seem to hear it, and I can't see anything. So obviously I came downstairs half asleep, and it was like, yeah, he's gone. Yeah, so then we had to phone the nurse up to come and confirm it, and then obviously arrange the undertakers to come and what. But yeah, but the experiences that I was getting, like I said, his mum walking around, she was obviously waiting for him. Didn't see much of his dad. Not too sure why. It was mainly females that I was picking up that were coming to visit him. The 2 weeks that I was there. But not every day, but every time I go back there now to visit Mum, it's so much quieter there now, obviously, because it was all hustle and bustle, and real life nurses visiting Dad every day, and then it was and then the spiritual nurse was there, and other family members popping in and popping back out again and stuff like that, and his mum pacing around. But now, just go there, it was so quiet. The other day when I was there, I think I heard and saw Dad walking around. I was going to bed, Mum had already gone up, and she was getting ready for bed and stuff, and I went outside for a quick vape, so because I don't vape inside my mum's house. I had the front door open, and I thought I could see someone walking around, and I thought, oh, Mum's come down. And I went, no, that shadow was too tall for Mum. And then as I walked past the dining room door, I heard one or two noises happening, and I was like, oh, what's going on in there? I was like, has Mum come down? And I was like, no, she's still upstairs, because I could still hear her upstairs. And I went in there, and I was like, and I could feel a presence, and it very, very strong presence, and it felt just like my dad. And I think he was just coming to come and visit and say hello. But yeah, like I said, this is kind of a different video to what I normally do. Sorry that I'm not showing any evidence or any of the pictures or the audio clips or anything like that I took. But like I said, that's our personal pictures. And it was my dad passing away sort of thing. So I don't feel like it should be in this video whatsoever. So I do apologize about that if you were waiting to see any pictures or videos. But yeah, that's my personal experiences of when my dad died. So like I said, he died on the 17th of May of this year, and it's the 11th of July. It's took me this long to actually get around to psyching myself up to do this video and explain my absence for a little while, and also do a video of personal experiences on the unfortunate passing of my dad. But yeah, hope you liked the video. If you do, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'm going to try and get back into a more irregular pattern now of releasing videos and doing stuff like that. It was just the fact that I had this mental block of trying to do this video, and it doesn't help that in between my dad passing and now, well, actually now we're in the middle of the second one, where we've had two very, very, very hot heat waves. Wouldn't be a heat wave if it wasn't hot. What am I saying? Well, we're experiencing two extreme heat waves at the moment in the UK, and it's very, very hot. But yes, like I said, I'm going to try and get into more regular videos. I'm going to try and get back out once it's not so hot and do some more recording as well. But until next video, it is going to be goodbye from me. Goodbye.